I second.
There is a motion by Ms. Paramore. Thank you. Green. And there is a second by Mr. Searcy.
Indeed.
Is there any discussion?
I don't want to talk about it
You
anymore.
won't talk about it anymore? Is there being no discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion by Ms.
Paramore
Green passes. Yes, it does. Well done. Now, Mr. Searcy, Operations and Finance Committee, you have
Yes.
4 action items for us
Or
today.
action items.
Yes.
We have a recommendation regarding our Fifth Third revolving line of credit renewal. Staff is asking us to renew up to, or borrow, up to $14 million. And we had a good discussion about it. Any further discussion from this board? If not, we recommend the adoption.
So it's the recommendation of the committee to renew and increase the existing credit facility to Fifth Third Bank to allow Nashville MTA to borrow up to $14 million. The term of the facility will be for 1 year with an interest rate of LIBOR plus 1.75% and a non-use of 20 basis points to be paid quarterly. And this new line of credit will expire March 31st, 2020. The intent is to initially borrow up to $10 million and then to increase the line of credit up to an amount not to exceed $14 million if necessary. The loan is to be received as needed and to be repaid in full once federal funding is available. This will allow Nashville MTA to continue operating and allow time for the grant monies to be received. In that this is a recommendation of the committee, it does not require a second.
Unfortunately.
I know. And based upon that, is there any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. And I will say this about this, that I thought that I appreciate the work that was done by Ed and his team to sort of keep that 10, 14 and help us save money by not going to the complete 14 at this point. I think that that was very visionary and also being a good steward of our dollars. So thank you for doing that. What's next, Mr. Searcy?
All right. We have the onboard vehicle camera equipment purchase and support. And I want to, of course, say that apparently the purchase and support is supported by none other than Dodson Parker and Caparella. And so we know we're on good footing in adopting the 4-part resolution regarding in-service camera equipment commissioning. That is, I guess, the starting of the process. The end-of-life equipment retrofit. Retrofits are always, in vogue in the spring. And managed services. The amounts that are relevant are for the modification of the previously approved service contract with Marsh Networks not to exceed an amount of $2.214 million. The proposed negotiated management services agreement written as a sole source contract for a 38-month period with one two-year option for renewal. The capital purchase of onboard camera equipment is fully supported by the FYI capital plan, FY19 capital plan, FYI, Jesus, throughout a combination of current and prior year 5307 and 5339 federal funds, federal formula dollars, as we are referencing them, and matching state and local funds. The managed services contract will be written in an amount of $1.379 million with a contingency amount of 10% or $137.9 thousand for a total not to exceed an amount of $1.517 billion. Upon execution, the project will be tasked in accordance with the project scope. Funding will be assigned and made available through the annual capital and operating budgets. That is the mouthful of recommendations. We passed them in committee. We now pass them to the board.
That being the recommendation of the committee, a second is not required. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. There we go.
All right.
Camera equipment, that's going to be great.
Yeah, well, and we not only that, but we have a 40-foot bus purchase.
Oh.
It's going to be
Cameras and
outfitted
buses.
with those cameras.
Here we go.
Unlike our police services are pussyfooting around with their cameras. Just an editorial.
Not really.
Yeah. The recommendation of the Operations and Finance Committee is to provide the CEO authority to approve the purchase of 19 replacement 40 low-floor hybrid buses from Gillick for the attainment of replacement vehicles to be used in fixed route service. The total sum of the purchase is approximately $778,000 per bus, and the cost per bus includes ancillary equipment such as onboard Wi-Fi technology and cameras. Funding source to support the purchase will be comprised of 5339B discretionary award funds matched by TDOT Improve Act funds and previously approved by Metro Capital Funding. This is almost a net contract apparently that we're only going to have to pay approximately $1 million plus on this contract as authorities. So it's a no-brainer to recommend this one, and we do.
Is a recommendation of the committee. No second required. Any further discussion?
We'll just say that if the FOP had us on their board, they'd have better cameras.
Better cameras. They'd have cameras. Yeah.
And these buses will be purple. There being no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We know they won't be orange.
You know that. Not even close. One last one.
One
Mr.
last
Cersei?
one, yes. The award of the architectural engineering on-call contract. And we heard our staff provide detailed discussion about the process, about the 4 vendors that were considered, the evaluation of Smith Gee Studio, and also an additional discussion about the DBE process and the fact that we may want to look at how we can be more vigorous about certain aspects that weren't necessarily reflected in the award. But certainly the award did follow the DBE process we have in place now. So with our committee's recommendation that we make an award not to exceed $1 million and set the base term with 2 optional 1-year extensions. An individual task greater than $300,000 awarded under this contract will require our adoption. Okay, with that recommendation and that thorough discussion, we now pass it to the board.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the not to exceed amount will be $5 million. The annual amount is $1 million. So the not to exceed would be $5 million.
Very good. Very good.
Thanks,
Thank
Margaret, for the clarification.
you.
There being a recommendation from the committee, not requiring a second, any further discussion? With no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. That was an aye. That aye from Mr. Searcy down there.
Yeah, that was a burp.
Anything further from your committee, Mr. Searcy?
That is,
That's all we can do today.
yeah, that's, we would have done more, but you didn't ask us to do more.
Okay, well, next time I think I'll add a few more things on the agenda for you, see if we can't do a little more work.
Amen.
No point in
We
slacking
can
around
handle
here.
it, boy.
There's
Look, this
no
is
slacking.
Dynamic duo.
We did not have a report this month from New Initiatives and Community Engagement Committee. Chair's report. I don't have much. I just want to say I attended the mayor's budget hearing yesterday with Steve and Ed, and as you all could all imagine, I know all y'all were watching it on Channel 3 though, right? So, but those that weren't, you didn't see that Steve did an exemplary job of really explaining where we are here at WeGo Transit and making an excellent case for our budget, and I thought he did a superb job. And so, his presentation certainly reflected the work that we've done as a board over the course of the year, how we've been guiding these budget conversations, and most importantly, the work that all of you all do every day to sort of make certain he had all of the correct information. But his presentation was well received and well done. Good job, Steve. Thank you. Yes.
Madam Chairperson.
Yes.
Note that there'll be a rebroadcast.
Oh, will they be?
Yeah.
Well, just look on your guide on the TV.
Channel 3.
Oh, it's not.
I mean, the different cable providers have the public station on.
It is available on Metro's YouTube channel, but Ed's
Right on.
attire was not nearly as colorful yesterday.
No,
So
it was not. It was still UT Layton, but it wasn't.
Was he more subdued? That's good. That's good, Ed. You understand.
For all of those who really need to watch that kind of TV, listen to Mr. Searcy.
I'm remembering that song.
Yes.
And
Just Google it. Yes, Kim. So Steve did. I know the NFL draft is coming, and that's presenting you all with some amazing, huge challenges. So I just want to say good luck to you all. What else to say to you all?
riders
Customer
as well as staff.
Customer services calls are going to probably go way up. Mr. Knight,
Darius, I want to
many
see you
callers?
out there. I mean, for
directing
sure.
us which way to go.
Can you help us?
Or at least picking who they should pick
No,
in the draft.
I'm seeing you in a volunteer outfit. We go volunteered.
But in all seriousness, though, I know that's creating a challenge for you all, but I appreciate you all being a good partner with the city and being a good partner to the citizens and the community of Nashville to make this as seamless as possible for everyone, even with the challenges that you will
It's
have
going
to
to
address.
hurt. I mean, let's admit it.
But you know what? One thing about MTA, WeGo, when they get hurt, they make as many people not feel the pain that they feel internally. So they do their best. So I'm really proud of you all when you have those kind of challenges. So, any event, we're with you, and if anything we can do to sort of support you in this process, please.
Don't ride the
know
bus
that.
that weekend.
Yes. I also noticed that with spring places that I'm going, that there seems to be the transit conversation is picking back up again, and sort of seemed to rest a little bit over the winter months. But I do see with spring the transit conversation. So again, if any other ways you can reach out to us as board members to help be the best advocates we can be for the work that you do and the work that you will do, please don't forget to call upon us as those conversations do continue to grow and emerge. We are here for you. And other than that, that pretty much concludes my report. What I will say, though, I thought we did some really good work today in terms of moving forward our new buses, and what a joy to know we were buying new buses by virtue of our good reputation and good work that we do, that they came from awards from the federal government and the state because they trust the work that we do. And everybody didn't get those large grants across this country, and we did. We rock. And I really appreciate they were able to do that. I think with the having better recordings, cameras, I think that gives us a chance to be safer. And so that is always a plus for us. So again, all these things that we're doing, we're just continuing to move forward. And when those transit conversations do come to us, we're once again better prepared, and it gives us great opportunity. So it's spring.
I have something to say.
Sure.
In all seriousness, I just want to say that I really appreciate the public comments, because it helps me, it raises my awareness, of things that are going on in the city. And I don't take them lightly. I don't think anybody takes them lightly, even when you have to repeat yourselves. I mean, we have got your bus stop in mind, Ms. Hanson. We really do. We think about it. And I think about it every time I go that direction. I'm like, she can't even get off a freaking bus here safely. So it makes a difference, even though it might seem like it takes a long time to get around to something, since this is like a big ship, that has to be turned. It can't turn very fast. But I just want you to know that I do think about it a lot. It raises my awareness.
Excellent.
I would agree.
Ditto.
That concludes my report. Mr. Bland.
Thank you,
Your
Madam
turn.
Chair. Appreciate it. You've covered a lot of the items I had. So
I knew that.
I'll try to keep
We've been
this,
working together a long
short.
time now.
Amen.
Touching on a couple of the actions you took today with respect to the award of the architectural and engineering, we are actively working to advance the Clarksville Pike North Nashville Transit Center project. We're in property negotiations now. It looked pretty optimistic. So as that kind of moves along, then we go into public engagement, design, all of those sorts of things. So I think you can expect a briefing on that probably within the next couple months, and moving that forward. Through our state association, the Tennessee Public Transportation Association, we were able to get the General Assembly to actually pass legislation, which was good. And it was subsequently signed by Governor Lee, which will exempt transit cards from the state's unclaimed property regulations. So this was something we found that was a key requirement, both to save us a lot of red tape, but also, frankly, that could have cost us money down the road as we run into over the years unused accounts and what have you. So really important, a lot of good work by folks like Rita and her staff, and Margaret, you were involved in the crafting of that. And then also a shout out to Jason Spain, who's executive director of our state association, who kind of bird dogged that, actually was able to identify sponsors who were the right mix of pro-transit and not so pro-transit, that they kind of catch a red flag in certain sections. So that was a good victory. A small thing, but a really important thing. We've had two meetings so far with our new TDOT Commissioner, Clay Bright, one with our state association and one with Mayor Briley, and other Nashville transportation stakeholders like Mark Sturtevant of Public Works and Luke Gleason Capital Planning. Very encouraged by his openness, his intellect. Certainly appreciates the need for the department to think multimodally. So obviously it's early, and to a large extent he is drinking from the fire hose, but encouraged by what we've seen and heard so far. I had the opportunity.
I like that metaphor, Steve. Yeah.
I use it a lot.
First time I heard it.
Yeah, and it's true. In that role, it's definitely true.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity this past month to attend the annual Shared Use Mobility Conference in Chicago. Dan has gone previously. That is a conference that focuses on, you wouldn't be surprised, shared use mobility, which means things like ride-share transportation networking companies, car share, bike share, scooters. My recent informal poll question is, if you had to guess how many scooter companies were on display at this conference, what would your guess be?
15.
Close. It was about a dozen. So Nashville has only scratched the surface.
We have 7 more that we can get.
We have a few more. We have a few more. And electric bikes are coming. And tricycles, we have that to look forward to. That's the new one. The electric
Scooters
bikes.
with 2 wheels in the rear, 1 in the back.
It's for those of us who maybe aren't as balanced as
Right.
for a scooter or a
Speak for
bicycle.
yourself.
But a lot of good information, and particularly a focus with those entities and public transit agencies on how we try to integrate those service models together. I know Mr. Forberg was talking earlier about how our neighborhood and regional transit centers might become areas where various mobility modes kind of connect. Our chair, Ms. Williams, reported on the budget hearing yesterday. It's been a lot of effort on the staff, particularly of Ed staff, but really everybody in putting together our budget proposals. As you'll recall, we submitted the budget requests to Metro with really 2 tiers of ask. One ask with an increase of $8.7 million to maintain essentially the current service and fare levels. Primarily that shortfall is driven by cuts in state funding, about $3.8 million, greater migration of a lot of our customers to free transfers, lower price fare products, free services that Ed alluded to in his financial report to the tune of $1 million, normal inflationary increases that drive that. Last year we were flat funded by Metro. We're able to get through that even though we did full year service of earlier year enhancements. So it will be a challenging budget year for sure. In addition to the 8.7, we put in a Tier 2 request of $5.3 million, which if awarded would allow us to extend service hours, improve off-peak service frequency, do things like expand on the access on demand service that I know Mr. Searcy was talking about earlier. So we'll see how it goes. It will be a tough budget year. We have, and I'll get a note out to board members, we did get our council budget schedule yesterday. So we are scheduled for May 15th at 5:15 p.m. Don't worry about writing it down. I'll get it out to anyone who's interested in attending. Sure. Janet Miller and I know she's not here today, so I guess I'll speak somewhat on her behalf. We had the opportunity to meet with Tom Turner at the National Downtown Partnership. Janet is now active on their board and really talking about how we can kind of coordinate with the Downtown Partnership, the city, various other parties on the whole issue of downtown circulation and revisiting, the ideas of downtown
I think
circulation.
we get the tunnel back on the agenda.
Okay. Or whatever.
You want to bring that up with him. Good.
But in general, the issue of downtown circulation between events and, certainly massive increases in employment downtown. And it is a focal point for our system. So really appreciate Janet's leadership and really kind of taking that on as a personal mission to kind of work on those issues. Gail alluded to earlier the planning that's going on. So literally, our next board meeting is scheduled for the first day of the NFL draft.
Oh.
And I think the Titans should have been awarded 5 first-round picks for the effort that is going into this. So a lot of staff have really been working on it, but I particularly want to call out Katie Freudberg, who is, definitely been trying to solve the Rubik's Cube. As Gail alluded to, we will absolutely do the best we can, put our best effort forward. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you it's going to be a very disruptive few days.
Dan is drinking from the fire hose.
I'm sorry?
I said Dan is drinking from the fire hose.
Well, this is not Dan this time. I'm leaving Dan out of it. It's his better half, Katie, who has been hip deep with Convention and Visitors Corporation, the NFL,
Fire hose 'cause
Metro Police, Public Works, the entire normal event crew. And there's kind of a good news, bad news situation. The bad news is the draft's also happening the same day as the marathon.
That's right.
So that particular Saturday is going to be
That's right.
especially challenging.
That's a half marathon, though, isn't it?
No, they have a
Well,
full.
it's both.
It's full?
And they have a 5K.
Aren't you in it?
Well, I've been thinking about it, but I didn't really want to lose my amateur state.
You better get in it.
But the long and the short is the number of streets we'll have access to for transit downtown, or there are fewer that we will have access to than we won't. So it will be very challenging for operations and for customers. So we definitely want to make sure that folks prepare for that. wanted to make folks aware in the ongoing stop upgrade projects. We've reported previously on the upgrades that are planned and being designed for Nolensville Pike. That project is going out for construction bids in the upcoming months. So, Mr. Searcy, to your point earlier, if you know of firms or want to share that information with firms or send us information on firms, we're happy to take that. So we're hoping to award that contract probably at the June meeting for construction to start this summer, and that will continue into 2020. Upgrades to about 20 stops in the Nolensville corridor, about $3.5–4 million worth of work.
Well, we will have to work hand in glove on that one because work in partnership and trying to be successful in that search.
Speaking of construction, we are in the process of renovating the Nestor facility. As you well know, they've been pretty much focused on the ground floor, our operator rest areas, our dispatch and radio control centers. They're pretty well wrapping up with that, so they will be moving upstairs very shortly. Work is progressing very much on schedule, and it will be, I think, a really much nicer facility for most of our operating staff who use it. And if there are any operators in the room, I'm not sure if there are, the project will be coming back with brand new purple felt on it. So you'll want to come out and see that when it's available and ready. Definitely kudos to operations for working around construction. It's been a challenge, but also to Trey and the construction folks for keeping it moving and getting it done on time and on budget. Also for Trey's group, they're working on the wayfinding improvements here at Central, so a lot of shop drawings and production going on right now. That project should wrap up by the end of the year, and the work will take place largely off hours, so it should be minimally invasive to our customers in day-to-day operations. And then last, I always like to update you on the activities of the Regional Transportation Authority. First of all, if you've seen some of the news that came up in our budget hearing yesterday, no, we didn't pull the wool over your eyes. We haven't merged with the RTA. But what the RTA board did do after several meetings of an ad hoc marketing branding committee is they have decided to adopt WeGo as their branding scheme. So you will see RTA services roll out with the WeGo brand in the coming months and years. Some of the earliest manifestations of that are we are expecting delivery of 10 over-the-road commuter coaches for RTA out-of-county services in the next few months. So those will come in bright purple. And the Music City Star, which will now be renamed WeGo Star, we're rehabilitating 4 locomotives and acquiring new passenger coaches. So those will come in the new livery as well. Not to mention their digital presence and printed information, what have you. Our staff, particularly ed staff and our grant staff, continue to work with the Office of State Comptroller on the sunset performance audit of the RTA, which seems like a perpetual job. I think the Comptroller's office likes us here, so they're spending a fair amount of time. So that should be wrapping up over the next couple of months. And then that report will go to the legislature. The RTA sunsets out next year, so we'll have legislative hearings probably this fall before the Oversight Committee for hopefully renewal next year. Design works have been pretty much completed on the expansion of the Mount Juliet Station park and ride lot, so that should be going out for construction bids as well. So even though it isn't necessarily a WeGo project, it is a WeGo project. It's not a WeGo MTA project. We would encourage you to let us know if folks who might be interested in that work as well. And then the last thing I'll report on is the steering committee of the South Corridor study, which entails looking at transit or mobility options pretty much from Murray County up into Davidson County, parallel to the I-65 corridor, met to talk about data collection that the consultant's been doing and public outreach efforts that will commence within the next month or so. That study is actually being led by the Nashville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. The RTA is one of the partnering agencies involved. So unless there are any questions, Madam Chair, that concludes my remarks.
Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any new business? Any old business? If there is none, then we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
I thought